Mr.Iconix Radio, and today we have a very, very special icon in the building. The one and only Andy Bradley is here. Andy, how you feeling?
I'm feeling great. It's a new year, and I'm looking forward to it.
I'm so excited. Guys, if you don't know who Andy Bradley is, get ready. Get your pen and your pad because this is going to be an interview that's for the books. Now, recording engineer, producer, educator, and author, Andy Bradley's career is a masterclass in longevity, versatility, and passion. With over 30 years as chief audio engineer at Rice University's Shepherd School of Music and as part owner and chief engineer of the legendary Sugar Hill Studios, Andy has left an inedible mark on the music world. He's worked with a staggering array of artists. We're going to name some in a minute, in just a minute, but across from every genre you can think of, proving his adaptability and unmatched expertise from Willie Nelson to Renee Fleming, Lil Wayne, to the Houston Symphony. Andy's touch can be heard in over 1,000 and counting commercials, music releases, and so much more. Behind every great engineer is a solid foundation, and Andy credits much of his career success to his beautiful wife, who has been his rock and sound partner throughout the years. Together, they've built a life steeped in music, love, creativity, and a shared love for the art. Andy Bradley, guys. Now, Andy, I asked you earlier, you woke up this morning and what was the first thing you did and what did you say?
Basically, my wife handed me a cup of coffee. and then after that, it was basically, I got to get ready and come and do this cool show.
Yeah.
With two of my favorite people. And then basically, after that, I had to feed the dogs.
I love a dog family. Like, I love a dog. Mom and dads. Let's talk about your dog. What kind of dogs do you have, Andy?
We have two boxers.
Ooh. Okay, and their names are?
The older one is Sasha, and the younger one is Patsy Jean.
Oh, I love that. Hi, Sasha and Patsy. I know they're going to see this. The hat. I love the whole outfit. Let's talk about the special hat today.
My wife gave me this hat as a Christmas present because I managed to lose the other one I had, which I'd gotten in England.
Now, that's how you give a good Christmas present. You know what? I'm going to replace that hat because I like to see you in hats. I love it. Andy, let's get into your amazing, remarkable, still standing career because it goes way, way back. I want to say first, thank you for all that you've done for the music industry and all you've gotten a chance to do for many others. You've paved the way. So let's kick off. How did you get into audio engineering?
I was going into college in Australia in the early 70s. And I was always hanging out with musicians. I don't know why. It was just because I love music. So I used to hang out with a few musicians, and then basically, whenever they performed, I would try to make their PA system sound better. Because everybody would have their little controller, on the stage with them, and they had their speaker boxes, and they really couldn't tell what they were, what the sound was. So I would try to go in and help everything. And then, kind of, it morphed into one day. I was sharing an apartment or a house with a dear friend, Jeff Peterkin, who was a drummer in a rock band. And he said to me one day, "We've lost our roadies, and would you like to be a roadie?" And I said, "Okay, what's a roadie?" You got to remember this is the early 70s.
Right.
What's a roadie? He says, well, basically you're going to drive our truck, you're going to set up our equipment with another guy, and you're going to set up lights and our equipment and the PA system, and you're going to run it, and we're going to pay you, and then most of the places that we go to will have free food. Some places have free alcohol for the band and the people, and there's lots of girls.
Sold.
Exactly.
I love it. I love it. And so then you find yourself being a roadie, with all the perks, traveling with the band.
Yep.
And then what happens when you do? What happened when you decided this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life?
Well, I met a incredible Australian rock group called Radio Birdman, who just finished their 50th anniversary tour of Australia. They're a bunch of old guys like me.
Oh, stop it, Randy.
And they're still rocking.
To this day.
To this day.
Wow.
And basically, I met them and fell in love with that band and started working for them. And we did 2 or 3 years of shows all around Australia. And finally, they went into the recording studio to work on to finish working on their first album, and they dragged me with them. So I sat around helping out, just because I can't sit quiet. So I'm helping the other engineer, that's working on the project and running some machines for him and doing that kind of stuff. And I thought, I can do this. I know how to mix live sound. That's what I've been doing for the last 6-7 years. So I decided to get involved in the recording studio world.
And there you go.
Yep.
And not to mention, you are a little bit over 65, but just a little bit over 65. And until this very day, you're still active. You're actually scheduled for your very first of the year. A recording session tomorrow.
Yeah. I'll be at Wire Road Studios tomorrow with Steve Roddy, who's the conductor and one of the main guys of the Houston Children's Chorus. And we're going to be doing some prep work for an album project.
A lot of icons that come in that are still active to this very day, they're always going back to other artists or someone that helped them become who they are, and maybe they were up in age, but they were inspired. And so you see, like, when they say pass the baton, like, you can still see the baton being passed from generations to generations. And it's not just a blood relation, right? It's really just the love of music and helping people.
Yep.
Come on, Andy. Okay, now let's go back a little bit further, if you will, into your legacy. As a part owner and chief engineer of Sugar Hill Studios, the legendary Sugar Hill Studios, for over 30 years, what is the most unforgettable session or project you've worked on? And I know there's so many to pull from, but give us at least 2.
Okay.
Okay.
There's an unreleased Willie Nelson album called Young at Heart. And it was recorded with Ray Price and Johnny Bush, both of whom have passed away since we recorded that. And that was such an enjoyable project, doing Frank Sinatra style big band music. With Willie and Ray and Johnny Bush. I'd already done several albums with Johnny Bush prior to that, and he's one of the icons of country music. His number one hit song was called Whiskey River, and Whiskey River has had over 3 million airplays. So that gives you an idea of what kind of an icon Johnny Bush was.
Yes.
In his day. And the other was working with Beyoncé on Survivor, on the Destiny's Child album Survivor, which was done at Sugar Hill.
One of the most iconic songs of all times. I say one. Beyonce, Beehive, don't, one. It's only one. Oh my gosh. I think now, here we go. I got a question for all the listeners out there and the fans. What was that session like for you?
Well, basically what was happening most of the time is they would have a keyboardist who was kind of the musical director of the whole project.
Okay.
And he'd be sitting there with all his synthesizers and drum machines and all that kind of stuff. And she would have a very good idea in her head of what the song was supposed to be. So she'd sit there with the guy, and I think the one that worked on, I think his name was Shakespeare, but not spelled that way. I forget, it was modern look, and you pronounce it Shakespeare, and he was a really cool dude from Atlanta that had come in. And so, she'd work with him until he got the beat structure and the music structure the way she wanted it. Then after that, it was just millions of vocals.
Wow. I think that when you think of, again, artists and icons, there's always someone that paved the way, and they're just continuously learning. And wow, we just learned something new, guys. A quick little behind the scenes. Now, with you merging so many different genres, from bluegrass to classical to R&B to pop, hip hop, how do you break down the genres to know what's needed for each one?
Well, I listen to almost all genres. I don't do very much hip hop anymore because I'm kind of old, and I'm not sure I understand where that's going these days.
I got you.
So I'd rather turn that over to the young guys that really know their own genre really well.
Yes,
and
yes.
The young guys that work at Wire Road Studios are phenomenal engineers at the hip hop world. So I let them take care of it. So I primarily I do quite a bit of classical music still, a lot of jazz.
Yes.
A little bit of blues, and quite a bit of country music, both the older country and the more modern country that you hear coming out of Nashville. And that's about it.
When you think of some of the artists that you're working on now that's up and coming, let's give them a little stamp. At least maybe give me maybe 5 artists that you're working with that are up and coming right now.
Yes. I just finished the session about less than a week ago with a young man named Dylan Culp.
Okay.
And he's being produced, and it's country music. He's being produced by Mary Minter, who you guys know.
The beautiful Mary Minter, yes.
And he is quite a talent, songwriter, and that's a very recent one. I'm currently mixing an album for an amazing singer by the name of Cecilia Duarte.
Beautiful.
Cecilia is a mezzo-soprano classical singer, is a big name in the Houston Grand Opera, and she also tours other parts of the world as a opera singer.
Nice.
But she also sings folk music.
Oh, I love the diversity.
And that's pulling all that training down into being able to sing in folk music. And I'm mixing that album right now. It's a bunch of lullabies in several different languages. And so I'm busy mixing that album right now, which we recorded about 7-8 months ago.
Beautiful.
I had the privilege of working with the record producer on that, whose name is Blanton Allspaw. Blanton has about 13 Grammys in the classical music world.
Wow.
But the man is incredibly intelligent, incredibly friendly, incredibly humble.
Yes, yes.
And just a sweetheart to work with. And I've known him since he was a student at Rice University in 1982 and 1983, getting his degree in conducting classical music. And now he's got 13 Grammys. And
still active until this day.
Totally active.
Totally active.
He's in Denver right now recording some classical project.
I am, to the listeners out there, if you're not inspired that your music and your gift can make room for you for the rest of your life. I mean, we've had Robbie Parrish here, which we're going to talk about here in just a moment. Yourself, we've had John PR from Houston, so many amazing contributors to the music industry and to youth like myself. I mean, up top, Andy, give me some. Still going. Come on now. Look, Andy wrote the books, but And we're gonna need y'all to write a book for the fountain of youth. What fountain y'all drinking from? It ain't just coffee either. I know it. He said, "Stop it." Okay, so Andy, I know that you're also a long time member of the Recording Academy as well.
Over 30 years.
Over 30 years. Let's talk about what has that been for you and how much of an impact has it made in your life?
Well, I got to be on the, since I'm not on the board anymore, I guess you were told never to tell anybody that you were on a listening board.
Okay.
Because they don't want people to send you stuff, trying to prompt you to vote for them.
Yes.
But I was on the board for quite a number of years to pick the best engineered album, non-classical, best engineered. And I've been invited to go on the classical engineering board, and I may do that next year. I spent plenty of time on the pop music board, and it's always fun to hear. We had to spend 2 days listening to about 700 CDs.
Talk about
when
it
I
here.
was doing it, which was not easy.
I'm sure. How much of an impact has it had on your career, also within networking? Because I know that networking is very important for the music industry.
Yeah, I've met a lot of engineers, from Dallas. Since the Texas board the Texas board actually includes some people from Oklahoma too. But I got to meet a lot of great engineers who had worked on amazing projects. And whether that really helped me in my line of work, I don't think so. Because so much of what I was doing was behind the scenes.
I love it.
So the behind the scenes people knew who I was, but the people that are, the people that are winning Grammys don't.
Well, I tell you what, I love this. It reminded me of a house party when I seen it. I was like, wait a minute, I ain't about to bring a house party up here. But the House of Hits, Andy Bradley and Roger Wood. Now, this is a book written about what, Mr. Andy?
Well, my first 3.5 years in Houston, I worked at a studio called ACA Recording Studios. And then when it closed, I went over to Sugar Hill, which was then owned by a great record producer by the name of Huey Moe. And I said to Huey, I have a client base, and I've heard that the studio is not running well. Would you like me to come over and take this over and rebuild and get this place going again? So he said, oh, that'd be awesome. And so in, I guess, the middle of 1984 is when I took over at Sugar Hill and started to print my own personality on the place.
Love it.
And, I would have, a breakfast coffee with Huey, and then I began to find out his history, which was incredible, the number of hit records that he had put out. And then I heard, how much other hit records had been done before he even bought the place. He bought it in '71. And he talked about, there's been hit records going on here since the 40s. And just for everybody, the first hit record done there was the very famous Cajun song, Jo Le Blanc. Very famous Cajun song that so many people have covered. The original hit record was done there in 1946.
Oh my gosh.
So then I began to think, well, I was supposed to be an English major in college.
Okay.
So maybe it's time for me to use it.
That's right.
So what I started doing was interviewing all the people I could find that had recorded there, and kept finding out more lists, going to the public library downtown and looking through looking through all the paperwork you can find, all the billboard archives and things like that.
Wow.
And one famous dear friend of mine, Thomas Escalante, who owns Sig's Lagoon. It's the vinyl record store that's right by the Continental Club in Midtown. I was talking to Thomas one day, and he said, man, if those walls could talk, And that did it. I said, okay, I'm going to write a book.
And the walls have spoken, guys. And here we go.
Yep.
Now, this is available on
Amazon.
Okay. And we're actually going to be getting our copy today. We're going to be ordering our copy. I think now this is a very special book right here. This is to his lovely wife, so he couldn't sign this one for us. It's coming back home. I think it's coming back home. But I just want to say, guys, go out and purchase this book. There's so much history in this book. How long did it take you to write this book?
I started in 2006, and the book came out in 2010. So that's 4 years.
Of just good old
Yep.
Texas Southern information, musical history, iconic work done right here, deep in the heart of Texas, y'all. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for this, Andy. Let's move it up a little bit forward because I know I got to definitely talk about my girl and my boy real quick. Recently, you got a chance to work in the studio in Wyro Studio with little Dylan Chance
Yep.
and her brother. Oh my God, Jude. I just want to know, because there was something very magical about seeing you work with a 5-year-old and a 11-year-old. Okay. It was just they were so drawn to you. They were literally drawn to you. And the way that you worked Jude's session, unfortunately, with little Jude, it wasn't too much you had to really go into, but let's talk about the song that he was recording and a little bit of your history with that song.
Unfortunately, you've got to realize how many song titles that are in my
what
head.
was
So
the
remind
song?
me which
Love.
He did. It sounded like an old big band chart.
Yes.
Like a Frank Sinatra.
It was Frank Sinatra.
Love.
It was
Love.
Yeah.
Love is for the-
Yeah.
The he's 6, right?
Yeah. He was 6, right? He's 6.
A kid's got a future.
Yeah.
His intonation, his tuning was remarkable for someone that was 6 years old.
Yeah.
And I think he's got a future. And so does his sister, for that matter.
Little Dylan Chance.
Yeah, I think we got another recording session in about 10 days.
We actually do. When you think of, because I know she's going to be covering Jolene.
Yeah, Dolly Parton's song.
Yes. When you think of the youth that young that are covering songs of artists that you've actually had the chance to work with, or work alongside of, or engineer, how does that make you feel in knowing just the precious gem of music?
I'm glad when old songs get pulled back up, because you realize that there's a history there, and hopefully people will understand that this is all about history.
That's right.
It just keeps rolling, and it's kind of fun to do that. When I hear you hear a lot of I do a lot of jazz recording, and so those guys will pull up these old nuggets from the 20s and 30s and put their own stamp on it. But it's amazing hearing when they start off with the original song, and of course it goes somewhere else completely. The jazzers will take it to a different direction completely. But it's all fun to hear these old songs, And of course with classical music, you've got to realize that half of the classical world is doing stuff written 300 years ago, and the other half is doing stuff that was written 3 weeks ago. As you'll discover with Miss Alicia Lawyer of the River Oaks Chamber Orchestra, or ROCO,
Yes.
is that she has commissioned, way over 100 new works that have been performed by her orchestra, and at the same time they're still doing Schubert and Mozart and Beethoven.
To this very day.
Yeah. So
Wow.
she can tell you way more about that than I can.
Yes, and we look forward to having Miss Alicia here
Yeah.
on Iconix Radio. I want to talk a little bit about, because being in the industry for so long and seeing so many different shifts in technology, how has the evolution of technology really changed for you? I'm sure it has, right?
Well, I started out recording on analog tape.
Oh, right.
And editing with a razor blade, cutting out parts of tape to put songs together. And
that was a thing.
That was a thing. Why do you think it's the digital guys are doing the same thing? Because we analog guys did it before.
When you're cutting and pasting.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was not as
Oh.
it was not as sleek as it is now, but it was, it could be done. You can cut between one take and another take of a song to create a finished version.
Okay. Well, I think that kind of. Do you feel like that there's some type of lack with the newer waves of engineering, or do you think that it kind of brought a laziness in a sense, or do you think that it's more easier and technical and it can get the job done quicker?
It's post-production is definitely so much easier in the digital world.
There we go.
And now, the early digital recording was not the greatest sound. We're talking 90s. And now it has improved dramatically to a point where sonically it is more than acceptable. Probably the only complaint I have is that there are a lot of people doing stuff at home who are really good at doing stuff at home, but there's far too many people who shouldn't be doing stuff at home.
That part. I agree. For the youth out there that are listening that inspire to be an engineer, to possibly follow the same footsteps as yourself, what words of encouragement would you like to leave them with?
Go to college. Go to Houston Community College. Go to San Jacinto College. Go to the one in San Marcos, which is the University of Southwest Texas, or go to Nashville. There's a 4-year school in Nashville. You can go to Nacogdoches and go to Stephen F. Austin, which has a 4-year degree in audio.
Yes.
And those guys, when they come to intern at Wire Road, are really awesome kids that have great potential in the music business. You really need to learn some of the nuts and bolts before you try to do this at home.
I love that. Well, you guys heard it right here from the man with the plan and the book, House of Hits. I mean, I think that's golden advice, because most people don't think that school is necessary. They just think you just do it and learn how to do it on your own, and that's it. But go to school. Okay, now, I guess the book wants to say something. Here we go. With such an impressive career, how do you hope to inspire or shape the next generation of recording engineers?
Well, basically, it's the interns that come from the various music schools back in the AC. Back when I was when I was running Sugar Hill, we had interns, and I've had some special ones from there that I'm still in contact with. We've got Bill Wade, who is the studio manager over at Wire Road, is in charge of collecting interns for Wire Road, and we've had some amazing ones there as well. And so it's teaching, not so much teaching them, because the interns that come to us already have knowledge. The idea is to get them in the flow of how to talk to people and how to have a smooth recording session.
Yeah.
And of course, they're really good at helping the old guy, put up microphones and take them down again, which is always useful. But that's part of the old, apprentice system.
Right.
Yeah.
Where can people follow you or find you or get in contact with you if they're looking to potentially work with you or support your business and your journey?
You can call the phone number at Wire Road Studios.
Okay.
That's a great one. I'm not on Facebook or social media.
Okay.
Believe it or not, social media has never given me one piece of business in my life. Because it's all word of mouth.
There we go.
It's word of mouth. That's where all of it comes from.
That's right. Guys, I think, and if you don't have the number, Google it. YRO Studios is and we're gonna put it right down here. And not to mention, guys, it's one of the pieces of the heart of Houston, Texas, along with the House of Hits, the legendary Sugar Hill Studios. Guys, we got the one and only Andrew Bradley in the house. Andrew, I would love to play a little game. Are you okay to play a little game? Y'all get ready. Andy about to play a little game with us. Get ready. Now, I'm going to give you a few questions. They'll have multiple choices. And you got Mr. Iconix in here, so I think you can have a little help. We'll give you a little help today. Andy is going to partner up with Mr. Iconix, guys, and we're going to play this game. Are you ready, Mr. Iconix? Yes. All right, guys, here we go. First question. This country music icon is as famous for his braids as his outlaw anthems. Is it A, Johnny Cash, B, Willie Nelson, C, Hank Williams, or D, George Strait?
Willie.
Final answer? I gotta say thumbs up. That is correct.
I've had the privilege of working with him, so I know.
Yeah, I love it. Okay. A classical virtuoso, is that correct?
Yep.
This violinist is celebrated globally for their timeless artistry. Is it A, Joshua Bell, B, Itzhak Perlman, C, Yo-Yo Ma, D, David Garrett?
Itzhak Perlman.
Itzhak Perlman. There you.
And by the way, he came to Rice University and actually played and conducted with the Shepherd School Symphony because his daughter was in school there.
Whoa!
And so I got to meet him too.
Wow, talk about bring your parents to career day. Listen, I love that. Like, that's my daddy, y'all. Okay. I'm so silly. Okay. This R&B powerhouse became a global phenomenon as part of a Houston-based girl group. A, Alicia Keys. B, Mariah Carey. C, Beyoncé. Or D, Mary J. Blige.
Well, if anybody's from Houston, they know it's Beyoncé.
H is up, baby. You know, that's right.
I even know where her house is, where her mom lives, which I will not reveal.
No, we will not, because we know look, okay? All right, guys, here we go. Now, known for his contributions to Texas blues, this legend left an inedible mark on the genre. A, Stevie Ray Vaughan. B, Johnny Bush. C, B.B. King. Or D, Buddy Guy?
Stevie Ray.
Final answer?
Well, Johnny Bush is a country singer. Who else did you mention?
B.B. King or Buddy Guy?
Well, everybody knows what B.B.'s done for the music world.
That's correct.
Um,
You were correct. I just want you to know you were correct. I wanted you to start sweating a little bit, but you didn't. He was like, who else did you say? That is correct. Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But BB is incredibly important, and believe it or not, he actually recorded here in Houston with the great Calvin Owens, who was his band leader many years ago, and he also recorded here for, I'm trying to remember the name of the incredible Afro-American record company owner that owned Duke and Peacock Records.
I was going to say Duke.
Don Roby.
Don Roby,
Yeah.
yes.
And he also recorded for Don Roby. Unfortunately, I never met Don because he passed away before I got really heavily involved in writing the book.
Wow. That is, guys, we got one more good one, but if you ain't got no history right now, like, note it down on your pen and pad, I don't know what's wrong with you. Here we go. Lastly, a punk band from Australia with a cult following recorded under Andy's skilled engineering. Was it A, Radiohead, B, The Clash, C, Radio Birdman, or D, The Sex Pistols?
Radio Birdman.
Period. The man knows his history, guys. I don't know what's happening right now. Andy Bradley, this has been such an amazing, fun, exciting, informative interview. We would definitely love to thank you. Are there any words that you would like to leave with the people before we go?
What you guys are doing is fabulous.
Thank
there
you.
should be more people in the music business that takes the care that you guys are doing to do this kind of work, because publicity is really important nowadays. And I think you guys are doing a hell of a job.
Thank you so much, Mr. Andy Bradley. That means a lot. I'm getting a little choked up, y'all, because Andy just got my heart right now. Such as the one and only Mr. Robbie Parrish, which we're going to talk about really briefly. You've had the honor to work with this legend for so many years. Let's talk about your friendship and where did it first begin?
1981, he came and did a recording session at ACA Recording Studios, which was on West Park Drive and doesn't exist anymore. And I thought, wow, this guy is cool. And so I always kept him in the back of my mind. And then I would bump into him every so often as him playing drums on recording sessions. So we just started to talk. And basically, I'm trying to remember I recorded one band that he was in, and I've forgotten its name because it was so long ago and there's way too many band names in my head. But we've known each other really a lot since about 1986, where he's been tuning drums for me nonstop. And he's tuned drums for people all over the world.
Yes.
And besides, he's a damn good drummer himself.
Yes.
And so, we talk every so often.
Until this very day, you both are icons. You both are legends, and you guys have brought so much to the music industry. And from one little Southern girl to a man with a plan, thank you so much, Mr. Andy Bradley, for continuing to be just as active. And today's time is much needed. We love you and we appreciate you.
My pleasure.
Guys, the book is talking. The walls are talking. The House of Hits is on Amazon. Not to mention Mr. Andy Bradley is still working behind the board to this very day. We thank you guys so much for joining us today on Iconix Radio. It's your girl, Rosii, and we'll see you later. Bye.